What's happening, guys? Welcome into another boxing breakdown and prediction show for this weekend's fight between Joe Smith Jr. and Maxim Vlasov for the vacant WBO Light Heavyweight Title over in Las Vegas. So let's jump into it. Joe Smith Jr. comes into this one as the sizable minus 350 favourite, with Vlasov coming back at a plus 260. Now, in terms of current form and the fact that Joe Smith's obvious likability, look, he's Irish-American, Long Island kid, works in a construction crew in between fights. You know, and he's got that absolute jackhammer of a right hand too. I can see where the odds makers have priced the fight the way that they have. You know, but Vlasov, despite having a much greater body of work and being 3 years older, is still relatively unknown on these American shores. But because of those reasons, I'll be on Vlasov for a small piece in this fight, as I believe he's the better boxer of the two. You know, and we're getting a lot of value at this current line. Joe Smith Jr. enters this fight coming off that impressive stoppage win over Eleider Alvarez back in August. And as mentioned previously, he does have that concussive power, especially in that right hand, where he's notched up a 72.4% KO ratio over the course of his career. But Alvarez, who'd previously already stopped Sergey Kovalev, sat trading big shots with Smith in the center of the ring. You know, and that's something like a savvy veteran like Vlasov simply won't do. He's tall, you know, he's rangy, he employs some excellent defense. The most of all, he can box. He can judge range effectively and likes to work on the inside. So I see Joe Smith having a real tough time landing clean shots here on Vlasov come Saturday night. You know, look, when a guy comes into the ring looking to bang with Joe Smith Jr., the New York fighter looks absolutely sensational. Andres Fonfara, you know, a really tough Polish fighter and 1-33 favourite in their fight back in 2016. You know, he looked to get into a war with Joe Smith early in their fight and got absolutely pieced up by Smith in the first round. Multiple knockdowns, some brutal shots. You know, and Smith ended the show after just 2 minutes in the first round. You know, and it was effectively the same with Alvarez. He had that confidence in his own power after stopping a champion like Sergey Kovalev. But, you know, Joe Smith, again, simply put it on him in that one. And Alvarez was put through the ropes ending the fight in the ninth. So that's not who Vlasov is, though. And I don't see the Russian fighter entering into a war of attrition with Smith in this one. You know, he's just simply far too smart for that. Joe Smith Jr. has already shown he can be outboxed. You know, both Dmitry Bivol and Sullivan Barrera made easy, you know, effectively easy work of Smith from the outside in their respective fights. And if Vlasov, who doesn't get enough credit for his own boxing skills, can employ range here as well, keep Smith on the outside, he can definitely win this fight. You know, the danger is, as always, is Smith's power. And even in defeat, he put Barrera down early in that one. So if Vlasov's not careful, stays away from that big right hand, he could well find himself finished also. However, at the current odds of plus 260, I simply have to take a piece of Maxim Vlasov here on Saturday night, as I think he's a live dog to beat Joe Smith Jr., just based on boxing skills alone. Saying that, as a fan, there's definitely a big part of me rooting for Joe Smith Jr. on Saturday night. He's effectively a real-life Rocky. You know, Fonfara, as we said, minus 3,300 favourite in their fight back in 2016. Irish bomber got him out of there inside 2 minutes. You know, and this construction worker day job, you know, is the Cinderella story to an effect. You know, he trains on the building site, and that's another great story too. But look, at the end of the day, this is the money business, so I simply can't turn down Vlasov at these kind of prices. So take Maxim Vlasov on Saturday night, plus 260 to beat Joe Smith Jr. over in Las Vegas. That'll wrap things up for this edition of the Boxing Prediction Show. As always, leave us your thoughts, and you can catch me over on Twitter at the SportsWolf83 and at my handicapper page, Kevin Dolan, over at WagerTalk. As always, until then, thanks for listening. Slán Abhaile.